Simon & Schuster Audio presents The White Wall: How Big Finance Bankrupts Black America by Emily Flitter. Read by the author.
This book is dedicated to the memory of my grandfather, Rabbi Milton Richman. Introduction. A problem overlooked. It started with a name. A tip came into me about a man, John Lockett, who was suing Morgan Stanley. Other reporters had glanced at the case and deemed it too small and singular to pursue. As the banking reporter for the New York Times, however, I felt a duty to make sure I wasn't overlooking an important coverage area on my beat. Even though I doubted this would lead to a story, people sue banks all the time and very few of those cases merit a headline in the Times, I decided to check it out. On paper, it was the story of a black man who had been fired by the bank despite having performed well in his job for years and even being promoted, and who now claimed to be a victim of racial discrimination. The bank's position was that nothing unfair had happened, that his firing was justified because he had actually not been performing that well. It was a classic he said, she said situation, and I could see why the others had passed. To find a worthwhile story in the Lockett case, I would have to unearth some larger truth that the case served to illustrate. Morgan Stanley, unsurprisingly, did not want to talk about it at all. But Linda Friedman, Lockett's lawyer, was all too eager to set up a phone call for me with her client. His voice on the phone was quiet, its tone full of resignation. Lockett seemed exhausted. It was early 2019, and he had been out of a job for almost 3 years by then. The struggle to attract widespread attention to his story was no help either. He walked me through what had happened, from his hiring and promotion early on to the vague criticisms his managers had made of him toward the end. Critiques that made no sense, such as the idea that his direct reports felt uncomfortable meeting with him, and that he was difficult to communicate with. No one had any specific examples to back up these claims, but that did not save him from being dismissed. Lockett's case, it turned out, would never even make it to trial. It was quickly diverted away from public view through a process called arbitration, a common tactic among Wall Street banks to corner disgruntled employees. This is a system in which complaints are heard behind closed doors by a panel of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?